Okay, a wise man who knows proverbs reconciles difficulties. Now get this, a wise man who knows proverbs reconciles difficulties. And if you don't stand for something, you will definitely fall for something. Now, if you don't stand for something, then you are preparing to fail or fall for something. Then a chick that will grow into a cock can be spotted the very day it hatches. Okay, take this. A chick that will grow into a cock can be spotted the very day it hatches. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to African Cocktail number 76, coming to you from Africa Radio. Okay, it's exactly 2 minutes past 4 in populous Lagos, Nigeria's commercial stronghold. Same time in Abuja, the country's political capital. 4 p.m. in Ibadan, that is in Nigeria. We are still there, and we say it's exactly 2 minutes past 4 in Calabar, Port Harcourt, Warri, and of course Aba. Then in Libreville, Gabon, it is exactly 2 minutes past 4, and it is same time in N'Djamena, that is the political capital of Chad. Same time in Kribi, Cameroon's coastal city, and of course 4 minutes or 2 minutes past 10 in Limbe, the seaside resort in Cameroon. This 76th episode of African Cocktail is dedicated to people living with cancer all over the world, and of course Africa particularly. And so, whenever you get this voice at this hour on Wednesday, know that you're listening to African Cocktail. Welcome to the 23rd episode of your darling show for phase 2 of 2014, which is of course African Cocktail number 76 since we started the show May of 2013. And just like we say all the time, African Cocktail is that party on radio that brings you all the niceties of the beautiful African continent. So how much of Africa do you know? How much of Africa do you eat? How much of Africa do you wear? How much of African entertainment news do you get to listen to or savor? And most important, how much of African music do you get to dance to? These are the kind of questions we do well to answer just on African Cocktail. African Cocktail is a mixture of the best African values you can ever think of. And in this 76th episode of the show, we celebrate bravery in the midst of what was initially considered to be a terminal disease, but today can be contained and defeated. Down with cancer and its accompanying trauma. This simply is the message a cancer survivor who has taken upon herself to come out strong and combat the disease is sending across. Juliet Aguwa now stands tall as a victor in the cancer combat, which is now being used to let the world, and Africa in particular, know that being diagnosed of cancer is not the end of the world. An actress by passion, Juliet has been telling her story via performing arts, and in her latest project, she is accompanied by some of Africa's finest female actors, including the young but legendary Stella Damasus, Mona Lisa Chinda, Melissa Determine, Anita Chris, Queen Tane, Beverly Okebo, and others. Some of them join our main guests in telling her story in this episode of African Cocktail. Juliet will be speaking from Houston, Texas this morning on the show. So don't go away. Then, Nollywood's iconic actress Stella Damasus accentuates her social cause with the dream to have a better society where the less privileged and sick are properly catered for. From the 2012 visit to commune with people living with cancer in Cameroon and other moves to that direction, to a recent stage drama project to vehicle the anti-cancer message. One quiet voice has been a focal point in the fight which its author, Juliet Aguwa, has engaged in via Courage to Dare, an organization created to that effect. Stella Damasus comes from African Cocktail today to join a fellow compatriot and sister talk about this social approach in performing arts. The Nollywood movie queen is in Atlanta, United States of America, and will be speaking from there in this episode of African Cocktail. Then we shall also listen to other people in this episode of African Cocktail, including our reporters who are spread all over the globe, beginning with Titus Banyon with his Belgium report that is from Antwerp, then Solomon Atta's South Connect from Johannesburg, and of course Ifana Kwala's The Central African Report from Douala, Cameroon. Meantime, I'm in this sumptuous 11110 studio of Africa Radio, situated at the northern belt of the city of Columbus alone. But then, I have a good number of guests in this special episode of African Cocktail. Like I said earlier on, our main guest will be Juliet Aguwa, an actress and a cancer survivor who has been accompanied to this episode of African Cocktail by some very talented African actresses, including the legendary Stella Damasus, who now joins us on African Cocktail. Now, let's find out if our guests are with us, beginning with Juliet and Stella. Juliet, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Ernest. How are you? Thank you for...
I'm all right, Juliet. And how is Houston this morning? So how is Houston today, Juliet?
Well, it's actually not that bad. The weather is a lot better today. It was a little freezing yesterday, but it's a lot better today. Thanks for asking.
Right. Well, I know the weather condition cannot be a hindrance to you because you are a very courageous woman. So how is Courage Today doing?
Well, Courage Today is actually standing strong and holding up strong, and we keep doing what what the mission is, which is to be a helping hand to a lot of women and men who are battling with breast cancer cancer.
Right.
So I would say that, courage today is still standing strong.
Okay, thank you so much, Juliet. And another lady who is so daring and who has very strong convictions as far as a social approach to what she's doing is concerned is the very Stella Damasus, who now joins us on African Cocktail. Stella, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, how is Atlanta today?
Atlanta is cool. It's sunny, but it's kind of cold. But it's not as bad as it's been before, so today is a good day.
Right. I know that you came all the way from Nigeria. I don't know how long you've been in the States now, but before you left Nigeria, how was that country doing, Stella?
I'm not gonna lie, it's not the way we wanted it to be. There are a lot of issues going on, and the one that I was most concerned about was the issues of the women's rights and the rights of the young girl and the poor health situation in our country.
Right.
Not supposed to be. So yeah, I was dealing with all of that before I left.
And definitely you are going to continue dealing with all of that, Stella. I know you are a very courageous woman.
Yes, I am, definitely. There's no turning back now.
Right. Okay, Stella, thank you so much for joining Juliet to talk about her life and the project you and her have been doing. Others will join us in this episode of African Cocktail. So thank you very much, ladies. Just take a respite, then I'll be back with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Ernest Kanjo, regular host of African Cocktail. Asking you to sit back, relax, and of course enjoy every bit of what we shall be presenting to you this very cool Wednesday morning here in the city of Columbus. But I know it's definitely going to be a bright day, especially on African Cocktail. So welcome on board to everybody who has just joined us. Then we are going to begin African Cocktail as usual by giving thanks and praise to God the Father Almighty, because it is thanks to Him that this show has gotten to where it is. So wherever you are listening to us at this moment, just bow down your heads. Then we are going to be back with you after we must have said, "Thank you, Lord." Okay, and we are going to do that with Bebel Boma and Josephine Woso in this very brilliant gospel piece titled "Blessed and Highly Favored."
Chukwu, onye ọla ebube.
Father, we thank you for another day. Lord, we thank you for everything. Lord, we thank you for the energy, the power, the wisdom, and the ingenuity to run this show every Wednesday. Lord, we pray that you bless everyone listening and all those who are participating, especially our people out there who want to know much about cancer. Father, we pray that those living with the disease will find courage, they will find peace, and of course they will find joy in the words of our guests who will be speaking about it in this edition of African Cocktail. Lord, we pray that you soak this edition of African Cocktail in the precious blood of your Son, Jesus Christ. And through him we have prayed. Amen. Blessed and highly favored, Middle Boomer featuring Josephine Woso, a mixture of Cameroon and Nigeria. Beautiful gospel piece there coming to you from Africa Radio. And of course, the show is African Cocktail with Ernest Kanjo this day, November the 26th, 2014. It's a special edition of the show because we have some very daring women, African women, who will be talking in this edition of African Cocktail. And at the end of it, we're definitely going to hit your chest and say that it was a great time being with this woman. We're talking about our main guest, Juliet Aguwa, who has come out successfully from cancer and who will be telling her story in this episode of African Cocktail. And then Nollywood's iconic actress Stella Damasus, who has joined her compatriot and fellow sister in not just telling her own story, but then telling us how she has gotten involved in a social cause aimed at pushing Africa ahead. And we are going to have a host of other actresses: Melissa Ditemi, Anita Chris, Ogoche Ekwe, Queen Tane, and lots of others talking in this edition of African Cocktail. Then we'll find time to stop in Michigan and briefly talk with Vomumse alias Shalom Magic, who is at the verge of releasing his maiden gospel album. It's going to happen this Saturday, November the 29th, 2014 in Michigan. Okay, our reporters on standby: Solomon Atta in Johannesburg, South Africa, Titles in Antwerp, Belgium. Then we have Ifana Kwalar at the banks of the Ruvuri River in Douala, that is Cameroon's economic capital. So lots and lots of exciting things to learn in this episode of African Cocktail. Then we shall also have music, and today we'll definitely do a lot of Nigerian high life for obvious reasons. It is original music, and of course a bulk of our guests in this episode of African Cocktail hail from that very, very beautiful and most populous black country in the world. I'm talking about Nigeria. Okay, let's begin with music, and we have Tilda. Then just right ahead, we shall move to Houston, Texas, and start talking with our main guests. Let's listen to this one. It's titled Dance Panko Music. Hey, she's one of the well-known descendants of Prince Nico Mbarga, the legendary Prince Nico, king of high life, who passed on some years ago, but whose music continues to play on. Her name is Tilda, in that beautiful one titled Dance Panko Music. You're listening to African Cocktail, number 76, coming to you from Africa Radio with Ernest Kanjo this day, November the 26th, 2014. 614975097 are the numbers to press your fingers on if you want to take part in this episode of African Cocktail. We have some very special guests. You may have one or two questions to ask them. Just do that by pressing your fingers on those numbers, then you'll be live on African Cocktail at exactly 24 minutes past 10. Time for us to move to Texas and receive our main guest, Juliet Aguwa, a very courageous woman. She has a very, very strong story to tell in this episode of African Cocktail. So let's move on to Texas. Juliet, welcome once again.
Thank you very much, Ernest. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
So, Juliet, a courageous young African whose spirit of determination surpasses all odds. Do you identify with this description, if I do describe you as such?
Well, courageous? Well, yeah. I mean, by faith and, being able to stand today as a cancer survivor, I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
And now, your biography tells me you grew up within a very modest family setting. Do you have any regrets about that? You just look at it as a blessing?
Honestly, I just believe that I've been blessed. I have a great family, grew up with a wonderful, wonderful parents, siblings that, that really, I think one of the things that my father taught every one of us was, the love for family and the love for, each other. And I've been so fortunate, I really don't have any regrets at all.
Right.
At all.
And so, you are a cancer survivor and one who has opted to come out and communicate, on it. Before we get into details, do you feel comfortable talking about cancer anytime, anywhere?
Of course. Once you're given a second chance, what do you have to lose?
Right.
I'm comfortable talking about cancer any day, anytime.
Now, I'm asking this question because Africa has the tendency of being silent on such diseases described as terminal. And you must agree with me that there's been a lot of silence as far as cancer is concerned on the African continent. So why do you think Africa takes this silence approach?
Well, I think, cancer in Africa has been something that we've always viewed as a taboo, as a curse. So as a result, a lot of women, I would say women, majority, shy away from it because you don't want to be, tagged as someone who has some form of a disease. Because, it's been looked at as though you have HIV/AIDS. And, people tend to forget the fact that this is a disease. And as a result, so many women shy away, or men shy away from this disease and not talk about it and rather just die in silence. Secondly, we already know that in Africa financially we do not have what we call health insurance.
Right.
So when just the idea of knowing how much you're going to spend treating a disease or, something people have termed as a curse, people just rather go home and just wait for the expiration date.
So, as a reminder, what kind of cancer did you suffer from?
I had breast cancer.
And for the sake of our listeners coming across you for the first time, could you briefly describe events leading to the diagnosis of your cancer, Juliet?
Sure, definitely. I was diagnosed with stage 3C breast cancer, which was almost a stage 4. There are 4 stages to cancer. At the time, I had a 3-year-old at the time and a 1-year-old also as a wife. The last thing you ever expect to happen to you, especially with this, the fact that it's called cancer, is that you be diagnosed with such a disease. Of course, just like every other woman, I immediately thought about death sentence. I thought I was going to die, and But being in the United States of America, I would consider myself lucky, one of the lucky ones. Not to say that, people don't die from this here in the United States, but I mean, I was in the right hands. I had the best professionals to, help me get through it. It was very traumatic, if you look at it in all aspects. Being a mother or wife, you're thinking about your children. My young children, a 3 and a 1-year-old. How am I going to leave them behind? Who can stomach that? So when I got diagnosed, the first thing I did, of course, my husband was there with me, and we had to call my mother in Nigeria and break the news to her. Of course, it was heartbreaking for a mother to hear that her child was going through a disease such as breast cancer. But then, when I did that, I did alert my siblings about it. But once my mom heard about it, she had to make her way to the States, because for every mother, you wouldn't want to bury your child. So she just thought, this is when you need me most. So, it was a very hard period for me.
Okay, Juliet, traumatic, I would imagine. But I guess the trauma is all gone.
Well, it's all gone. Well, I'm standing here today, because at the time in 2008, I never even thought I would make it, through the next month, because I had no idea what breast cancer or cancer in general. I hear about the word, but I just never went out of my way to research it. I wished I prayed for people who were diagnosed, but it wasn't something that I, went in depth into to learn about until I was diagnosed, and with that I started doing a lot of research and, speaking to my oncologist and all other doctors and professionals around me. So, with and not having a family history of it, which was one of the first things that were tested, it was hard at the time. But, right now, my mission and journey is to be there for another woman, just like, I had the greatest support.
Being there for another woman is genuine, because, Juliet, thank you so much. I must say you are the silver lining in the dark cloud. I'll be back with you, Juliet. Time for me to play some music, then we'll be right back. Thank you so much, Juliet.
Thank you.
So we are celebrating the life of a woman who has successfully beaten cancer, and of course she's here to tell the world that cancer is not a problem as you may think. You can come over it, and of course that's the message in this 76th episode of African Cocktail that is coming to you from Columbus, Ohio. We are in the United States of America. Good afternoon to all my friends listening to the show in Abuja, Nigeria's political capital. I'm also thinking of you out there listening to African Cocktail in Lagos, that country's economic stronghold. Meantime, join us in savoring this beautiful one titled Dance Panko Music. It's by Tilda. Still to come, we are going to listen to other actresses, especially those in the One Quiet Voice project, authored by Juliet Aguwa. And of course, we shall be listening to Shallow Magic, call him Vumumse. He's a gospel artist whose maiden album will be launched this Saturday in Michigan. African Cocktail coming to from Africa Radio with Ernest Kanjo. A special good morning to you, Ken Shali Monet, resource person #1 on African Cocktail. I'm also thinking about you, Crystal Beauty of the Crystal Beauty Show. Dance Panko Music, beautiful piece there by Tilda. Tilda, like I said, is one of the descendants of the legendary Nico Mbarga of blessed memory, but whose music continues to play on. This is African Cocktail number 76 with Ernest Kanjo at the central microphone. Reporters spread all over the world. At exactly 24 minutes to 11, time for us to move to Houston and, of course, to Atlanta to meet Stella and Juliet once again. Stella, once again, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, Stella, in recent years, you've been seen more in civil activism than movie acting. Why this sudden movement?
I don't think it's a sudden movement. I've actually been doing this for a long time, but I wasn't making noise about it. But then I always say that when you have been in an industry for so long and God has given you the privilege of being a household name and popular figure, it's not just for you to use it to make money and become famous and that's it. It's for you to stand up for his people and try as much as you can to help humanity. And that's what I feel that is the right thing to do. That now I have the face and the name and the personality to be able to push out messages that people want others to hear. So that's why I've been doing that. That something, maybe a company might want to talk about cancer or VVF and they're not able to do that because nobody's listening. But when they see a popular face that they're used to, that they can identify with, then it's easier to do that. So that's why I feel the need to do all of this that I believe in, not just any kind of thing, but things that I really believe in and I want to help do something about. So that's what it is, yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you this. We've seen you come out several times strongly to denounce some of these social ills. But then, Stella, looks like very little is changing. Do you get discouraged at one point in time?
I don't get discouraged, and that's one thing about me. I don't ever stop. I don't slow down. I keep doing what I'm doing because I'm doing it for God, not for people. So even if people are not listening or they're not pulling their weight or nothing is changing, I still believe in being positive, and I believe something sometime will happen. And one thing that I do is that when I speak out, I know that it doesn't automatically change the system, but it gets people talking. Right. It brings the situation to the minds of people. People start to be aware and start to do research about it. When they start talking, others will hear. And finally, I believe that someday it will get to the right ears that will do something about it. Because if we stop and get discouraged, then nothing will ever be done. So we have to keep fighting. Cancer issue that we're talking about today didn't start during my mother's time in terms of the publicity and the awareness. They were dying of it, but they didn't know what it was until people started talking about it. And that's where we are today.
Now, at the end of the day, it is the powers that be that have to implement this change. And if they understand that you are an opinion leader, yet they don't make any move, how do you feel about that? And do you always get to, talk directly to the people in power who can implement this change?
Yeah, Yes, we do. We talk directly with them, and then we talk to other people for them to hear. But we already know the mindset of some of the people who are in government. We already know their mindset, and they keep believing that their priority is not what we are talking about. But gradually they're beginning to see the decay in the system. They're beginning to see that those things that they think are more important are those same things that are destroying the nation. So now I'm believing that there will come a time where they will sit back and go back to the drawing board to know where they went wrong. Then they will realize that those things that they call trivial issues, that they see as little issues, those are the main issues that they're supposed to face. And I believe that somebody somewhere will stand up in the government and start to try to implement these changes, because they're all worried about politics, and that's it. They're not worried about the health situation or the rights of the woman and the child and all of that. But very soon, all of that I believe will change, because people are now talking about it. People are sensitized, and people are standing their ground right now.
You happen to have taken more interest in cancer, whereas Africa equally suffers quite much under the weight of diseases such as HIV and AIDS and other diseases, even malaria. Why the concern about cancer?
Okay, first of all, like I always say, everybody has something that they're more passionate about. I can't do everything. I have to pick the things that I know I'm more passionate about because of different experiences of people that I know and things that I have seen. And may I tell you that right now, as far as I'm concerned, with the research that I have been doing, cancer has been killing more people right now than HIV all over the world, because they seem to have what they call it, retroviral drugs for HIV patients to suppress it, and that gives them a longer period to live and to fight. And some HIV patients don't even get into full-blown AIDS if they take their proper medication right now. But as we have already seen what's happening in Africa, cancer has become the #1 killer, especially of women in this day and age, and that's why we have to fight it. The way the whole world went about the campaign for HIV and AIDS, even from the time I was a young girl, that is the same thing we have to do for cancer now, so that when we raise the awareness, raise the funds, there'll be enough research done, and then finally we will have something that can suppress the cancer or even take it out. You know, that's why right now I feel that this is the one thing that we need to push more on. Other things have cures, other things have things that can suppress them, but cancer is still the issue that we are facing, you know, so that's why I'm dealing with this right now.
Right. Okay, I'll come back to you. Juliet, let me find out from you, is it because Stella is so concerned with cancer that you decided to work with her on the One Quiet project?
Well, actually, One Quiet Voice is a true life story. They're true life stories of so many women that have battled this disease. Unfortunately, some of them are no longer here with us. So when I decided to put this production on stage, I needed, great actresses and actors that would be able to tell the story like it is. And, knowing Stella and the great works that she has done in the past, I just wanted her to be on the production, and because I know that with her character she will be able to portray the story, because cancer is something that I'm very passionate about because of my survivorship. And for me, it's not just any story. When I decided to interview and meet all these great women who were diagnosed with this disease, one of the things they had in common was let the other woman know what we went through, so they know they're not alone. And that's a strong message for me. So for me to have put this on stage, I didn't just want to put any kind of actors or actresses on stage. I wanted to bring the best, and that's what happened.
Okay, let me go back to Atlanta. Stella, One Quiet Voice is a project like any other one with a script. Did you accept the script simply because it actually met the standard of a drama script, or because it talked about cancer, which is what you are fighting against?
No, the actual thing is, I was called by Lancelot to do a master even before I got to speak to Juliet, and he told me that it was a stage production. I'm a theatre arts graduate, so first of all, the thing that got my attention was, it was going to be live. That was even before I knew, what the play was about. And then when he told me that it was about cancer, I was wondering, and I'm like, wow, are people really willing to put cancer issues on stage live for people to see. How are we going to achieve that? And then the thing that really made me say yes to it was when he told me who it was. I didn't realize that I'm a distant relative of Juliet until he told me her name, and I'm like, are you kidding? And then when he hit the nail on the head and said to me, she is a cancer survivor, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, because this is a message of hope, not just putting cancer out there and leaving it for people. It is a message of hope, because there is somebody who has come out of it, who has survived it, and who's willing to fight. And anything that gives hope to humanity, I am all in for it. Because not many women can stand and tell you, oh, I beat cancer and I'm ready to help others. Some people beat cancer and they run away with their family on holidays and they go and sleep and they're happy, and that's the end of it. But for someone to stand and say, I want the world to know my story, I'm not ashamed of it, I'm not embarrassed, I want people to be healed, and I want people to know that there is hope and there is help. That's what caught my attention. And even before I read the script, I was already sold in doing it. So that's what happened.
Wow, a great revelation there, Stella Damasus. Thank you so much. I'll be back with you and Juliet. Time for me to play some music. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
We stay with the music masters. I'm talking about those who delve in the high life genre, and we are meeting Ekenga superstars of Nigeria. I'm taking you back to the yesteryears when music used to be music. This is African Cocktail number 76 with Ernest Kanjo, and of course lots and lots of exciting guests in this episode of the show. And so, thanks to one quiet voice, we are coming to know those young African artists who have a vision and a mission as far as the fight against cancer is concerned. One of them is Quintain. Quintain now joins Juliet Aguwa to tell the latter's own story about this genuine fight against cancer. At exactly 11 minutes to 11, time for us to move to Houston, Texas, where Quintain and Juliet are on the air now. Queen, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, how are you today, Queen?
I'm doing very great, very excited about today.
I'm also excited to have you on this show, especially for the first time. You recently took part in One Quiet Voice project alongside others, Queen. And I'll ask you this first question. Did you accept that script because it was up to standard, or simply because you two had a heart that beats towards this disease, cancer?
I would say it was both for me. I actually got a phone call by a notable guy out of Houston called Bode. Bode called and was like, "Hey, listen, Quinn, I need you to be on this project. You're one of the artists that I appreciate in Houston, and I need you to be on this project." I'm like, "Hey, listen, what type of project are you talking about?" He says, "You know, it's a real life story of a cancer survivor." And I'm like, "Well, you know, my schedule is really, really packed up right now. What are we going to be doing?" He said, "You know what? Give me a second. Let me call Juliet, the cancer survivor, and have her talk to you." So in 2 seconds, she gets on the phone, and Juliet's voice, Juliet's spirit, and her attitude on the phone was just amazing to me. I mean, that alone, if anybody will speak to Juliet, there's a calmness in her voice. There's how would I put it? There's a serenity that comes with it, and this excitement that comes with it. I just could not say no after that. I just could not. And then on top of that, to add on to it, the script was magnificent. I could not say no.
Right. What character did you play in the drama, and did you enjoy doing that role?
I sure did. It was actually something that comes secondary to me. It was a character of the nurse that I played, and of course I'm in the healthcare field, so it was definitely something that I experience on a daily basis, and I was able to transform that on the stage. So yeah, it was a role that I truly appreciated. Right.
And so what was your experience working with the others in this project, the cast and the crew?
You know, when you are, I will call myself a rookie in the industry coming up, and you're working alongside with the likes of Stella Damasus and the likes of Oge, I mean, it's sort of kind of a surreal feeling, you know, being in their presence, and them even with the director there, and them, you know, being able to lecture you on what to do and what not to do and how stage plays are being done. To me, it was a plus for the experience of it. I enjoyed every cast member. We're all passionate about our craft. I enjoyed everybody, every second of me during the process of it, of the rehearsal, and even the day of. I enjoyed everything. It was an amazing experience.
Right. Let me turn back to Juliet. Juliet, how did you come across Queen, and why did you decide to work with her?
Well, like Queen just said, I had a great friend, the president of Golden Icons, who was introduced to me by Lancelot, a great director. And because Bode is you know, pretty well versatile with a lot of artists locally here in Houston, I sat with him and, you know, we talked about the project, and that's how he said, "Hey, I have great cast that I think you would love." And when, you know, and there's this thing, like Queen said, this connection. There are people you talk to and you don't feel that connection, but, you know, it was really great. And when we met for the first time and, you know, had to run through this, it was just, the connection was just magical. So that's how we start working on the project.
Right. Now, Queen, if you're asked to describe Juliet Aguwa, what would you say?
In one word, therapeutic.
That's great.
It's therapeutic. When you've gone through such a tremendous life experience as cancer, and you're able to come out of it and go through it, and still have a sense of optimism that she carries, an air of appreciation for life. I mean, it's therapeutic for people like us that have not gone through it, that does not understand how it feels to be in it. So it's a therapeutic. That's really what I could say. Therapeutic.
Briefly, as an aside, could you just tell us a little bit about your acting career, Queen?
A little bit of acting career. Well, I have been in the industry for quite a while. I started up doing stage plays when I was a little child, and I grew out of that. I majored in theater acting college, and eventually ventured out to doing a lot of independent films in the United States. In 2007, I found Nollywood America, and I've been doing a lot of projects. I just recently came back from Boston, finishing up a project I just got through doing out there called A Hopeful Journey. So that's coming out pretty soon, hopefully by 2015. There's a lot of other projects that are coming out as well. I can't really talk much about it. But yeah, you guys look out for Queen Fame. There's a lot of major projects coming out.
Now, Queen, I want to thank you so much for joining us on this show. Before you go away, if you have a word to people suffering from cancer in Africa, what would you tell them?
I would say that we're one quiet voice, and we will survive. And that's it. We will survive. Have hope, have faith. God is there. We're fighting our fight on our end here, and just be encouraged. There is hope coming, and you will survive.
Thank you so much, Queen, for joining us in this edition of African Cocktail. We hope to have you on the show some other time.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'll be back with you, Juliet Aguwa. Time for me to play some music.
Audio Beleka Mba Egele Monasha President Mazi Motolumba Osi Homaga Chairman Lagos Branch Okache Mr. Felix Agai Nadiegwe Managing Director, Bright International Hotel, Lagos.
Okay, this is the season for budding gospel artists. Lots and lots of them are coming out strongly and of course presenting their works to the public. One of them is Franca Faith, who releases her maiden single this Saturday, November the 29th, 2014. Watch Over Me is the title of that beautiful gospel zouk which we made public come Saturday. And also we have one gentleman who has been in the limelight, especially as far as social media is concerned, for the past couple of weeks. He too will be out this Saturday with amazing gospel music album. He is Shallow Magic. Shallow Magic is known by Cameroonians of the 90s generation as a very dexterous dancer, a choreographer par excellence. Shallow Magic now joins us on African Cocktail to tell us about his maiden album. Shallow Magic, you're welcome to the show. Okay, we seem to have problems there with that young gospel artist. We'll be back with him in just a couple of seconds. This is African Cocktail for those of you just joining us. And of course, we're broadcasting from Africa Radio.
Israel, see, metal work, Lagos. Okay, to go.
Okay, we may not be able to listen to Rakata right now because it has not been made public, but Rakata is the title of the maiden album of Vumumse alias Shallow Magic. Like I said, he's a very, very renowned dancer, but then he has decided to use his voice this time and he has gone gospel. Shallow Magic is his name, but let me call him Vumumse today. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm alright, fine. Thank you so much. I have the tendency of calling you Shallow Magic.
That's still okay. That's still good.
Because I belong to a generation of Cameroonians who actually had a good time with you as a dancer.
Yes.
So when you think back of about those days, when you reflect back on those days, what do you feel?
Well, I see a seed that was planted at that time, and I see the seed springing forth and and bearing fruits right now.
Right. Someone said it some time ago that the fruits are actually bearing. So you are at the verge of making public your amazing gospel music album. First, how many songs do you have on that album?
Well, we have 6 songs in the album. We have Rakata, which is the name and the album title. We have A Belief. We have Busybody. We have Do Me Again.
Right.
We also have Satan the Feel My Bad and You Too Much. Those are the 6 songs that are in the CD.
Good. And like I said a while ago, even before it's released, the main track Rakata has already got wide attention. Tell us more about this song.
Well, the song Rakata is I got the song one time. I was going through a lot of chaos. I can say I was going through a storm at that time in my life, and all I had around me was negative. I had our auntie was just diagnosed with cancer. I had stuff going back home. I had other stuff, happening at the same time. So, there was so much negativity going on in my head, but I felt like, okay, there must be something to thank God for. God has done a lot in my life, and I can focus on the positive things that He has done. Because if He has done it before, He will do it again.
Right.
He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So if He has done it before, if you praise Him, He will do it again. So at that moment, I felt this positive spirit came over me, and I started speaking in tongues. And what I heard was Rakata. Those are the words that was coming out of my mouth. And before I knew it, I started singing this song. He has done it again. I started saying the things that He has done in my life, and that's how that song came about.
Right. I also had these 2 songs that caught my attention when I looked through the list of the songs that comprise your album. Satan, the Fall for... What is that? Satan, the Fall...
Feel My Bad. Satan, Certainly Feel My Bad.
Certainly Feel My Bad. Okay. Now, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's a broken language that we speak in Cameroon. They also speak that in Nigeria, Liberia also. Certainly Feel My Bad. If I say you feel my bad, it means you're jealous of me.
Right.
It means Satan is jealous. You know, the things that where from when God has taken me from to where I am right now,
right.
Satan is so jealous. So the song title, the song means Satan is jealous.
Right.
Feel My Bad.
You Too Much. You Too Much is one of the songs in the album. What are you saying in that one?
Yes, that one I'm saying that God is more than enough. God is more than enough. God is bigger than your problem. God is bigger than anything that you can even imagine. Right. God is wonderful. God is so great. He's so great. That's what that song really means. Right. It's you too much. God is more than enough. Like He can do more than we can ever ask or think.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that is the title of that song. That's where it came from. He can do what eyes have not seen, what ears have not heard. Even things that we have not even imagined. He can do more than that. He can do extremely abundantly above we can ever ask and think.
Right. Now, Shalom Magic, tell me, what kind of impact do you intend to create with this album?
Well, I'm trying to reach every generation. The album is an album that can reach every age group. Every age group. My kids, that listen to it, like they can dance and sing it like in a second. They don't even speak broken English, but they can sing the song from A to Z, and they can tell you, I've never explained to them what I'm really actually singing, but they can actually explain it to you, what I'm singing, from just listening to it. So I want to reach every generation and every kind of person, Christian or non-Christian.
Right.
I have some Muslim friends who've listened to the song and they're like, wow. You know what I mean? It's like there's really a message to the song. You know what I mean? It's like, because they believe in God, but they tell me, there's a message in the song. Like, you know what? I think God is greater than we think. God is bigger than we think. God can do more than we think.
Right. So,
more than we can ask. So
do you have videos for all the 6 songs in the album?
No, I have a video. I'm working on the rest of the 5 that I've worked. I have a video for Rakata right now, which will be premiering on the 29th.
Right.
On the opening.
And why did you choose the Afro-pop and Afrobeat genre?
Well, that's my roots. That's where I came from, and also that's what it's really. I don't want to say selling at this time, but that's what a lot of people listen to right now.
Right.
And I wanted to show another side of gospel. Gospel music, to me, it's not religious. It shouldn't just be religious. It shouldn't just be a religious music. It should be something that somebody can listen to and dance to.
Right.
Because I believe King David in the Bible must have been doing something that is extraordinary, something that is different to catch the attention of God.
Right.
You understand? Yeah. So that's my philosophy about gospel music, about inspirational music, about church music. It should be something that can catch the attention of everybody.
So
that's why I chose it. Yes.
So how long did it take you to complete this project, and who are some of the people you work with?
Well, it took me a while because it took me a while to get the songs together and stuff like that. But it took me about a month to get it done when I went, because I did it in Cameroon. I worked with Ewube, who also had her own CD, her own video and CD is coming out soon. I also worked with Nami Cyrus, who he did a rap in You Too Much. He did a rap in You Too Much. Then I also worked with Slim Beats, who is one of the producers. He did a wonderful job. So those are the people I worked with.
So I introduced you by saying that you are a choreographer par excellence. What role has your choreography played in this album?
Very funny. My managers and my directors, they said, you know what, Charles, honestly, you are the artist this time. You're going to dance, but we're going to limit you. You're not going to dance like you used to dance. Like you dance, we're going to have to limit you. You have dancers, we have dancers, we have dancers that did the choreography in the UK. That's the D3 dancers, who are very popular also.
Right.
3 dancers did the choreography. So he said, Charles, my managers and my directors said, hey, you are the artist. You cannot dance like you are the dancer. So you got to dance like you're the artist. So my dance was really limited to an extent. But well, I did what I could do. You know what I mean? So because that's part of me.
So, Shalom Magic, this Saturday you'll be out to make public Rakata. How will this event look like?
Well, the event is a red carpet event. and he's drawing a lot of buzz all over the place. And we have people coming from all over the United States to Michigan. We have people coming from Canada.
Right.
You know, it's going to be wonderful. You know, it's going to be wonderful. It's a red carpet event, Hollywood style. Let me put it that way. But it's going to be wonderful. It's a great event, and you know, everybody's ready. I can't wait. Everybody cannot wait for this, and we've been waiting for this for a very long time, and we're ready.
And thereafter, will the CDs be available for people to procure?
Yes, the CDs will be available online. Will be available CD Baby. Will be available on iTunes. Will be available on every store that sells music. Every store.
Well, it was wonderful having you on African Cocktail today. Before you go away, could you just remind us of the day, the time, and venue of the events, and possibly some contacts if people are interested in making it that day with you?
Yes, the red carpet premiere, video premiere, and the release party will be on the 29th, which is this Saturday coming up, 29th of November 2014, and the address is going to be 28847 Franklin Road in Southfield, Michigan, 48034, and the contact, you can contact 248-795-8495, 248-795-8495. That's the hotline number to get information about the event.
His name is Fumomse alias Shalom Magic, a dancer par excellence, and of course he has a great voice which you are going to savor in Rakata when you must have come in contact with that maiden album. Thank you so much, Shalom Magic. We hope to have you again on the show some other time.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
His name is Oliver the Cock. He's one of those who make Nigerian high life tick, and that one is titled Mama and Papa. Beautiful music there coming to you from African Cocktail. Then the station is Africa Radio. We are broadcasting from Columbus, Ohio, US of A. November the 26th, 2014. We have Melissa Determine and Juliet Aguwa on the line to continue our conversation. Ladies, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Ernest.
So, Melissa, once again, I'm welcoming you, especially on African Cocktail this time. Not to talk about your ambassadorial status, but to talk about the project you've been doing with Juliet.
Yes. I'm really excited.
So, let me begin by asking you, Melissa, how did you come across Juliet?
Well, I was introduced to Juliet by Bode Ojo from Golden Icon Movie Awards. It was pretty much like a collective effort with all parties joining together to be involved in this humanitarian stage play. So once he called me, he connected me to Juliet, and everything carried on from there. She spoke about this amazing stage play that she would like for me to be a part of, and everything just transpired from there.
And so when you went through the script, did it move you?
Oh, definitely. The script, it definitely moved me. Once I read the stories of all of these extraordinary women that are in the play, it touched my heart, and I was definitely moved. Once I read about the breast cancer survival stories, the struggles, their unique challenges that they had to face from day to day, I was definitely moved, and I knew that this is something that I wanted to be a part of, and I had to be a part of it. It's a stage play that's encouraging, and it's empowering to women, and the more I read the story, the more invested I became, and I just had to be a part of the stage play.
Right. And so, what character are you playing in this drama piece? And did you enjoy doing that role?
The character that I played, her name was Samira, and I did enjoy playing this character because she was actually a young college student who was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 24, which most people assume that you have to be a lot older to be diagnosed. So her story actually spoke about her early struggles with being diagnosed. For me, first I had to understand who Samira was as a character. She was a fun-loving college student who was full of life, full of energy, and all of a sudden her life took a completely 360 turn when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So then the story carried on through her struggles and her trials and her tribulations, losing all of her friends, and how she overcame being diagnosed with breast cancer through her faith and her personal relationship with God. So for me, that played a very important part for me, because you have a lot of young people who are out there who actually came out to the stage play, and being on this talk show that are listening, knowing that, you don't have to be old to be diagnosed. It can actually come in the form of Samira's story, where this is something that she never expected, which I know no one really expected, but for her to be so young, she just never expected that to happen to her. So for me to have to play that part, I just wanted to make sure that I delivered her story to the best of my ability. And working on the stage play with Juliet, with Lancelot, with Stella, and all of the other actors, it was an amazing feeling just to be around all of these women who was pulling for you and rooting for you and wanting you to do well. So for me, it was a great experience.
Now, away from this play, when you look at the personality, Juliet Aguwa, how can you describe her?
Juliet, when I first spoke with Juliet, for me, I heard like a soft, calming voice. It was just something special about that voice. And And the more that she spoke about the stage play, I began to hear a voice of hope, strength, and power. She's so passionate. You can hear the passion when she spoke about the stage play because, as we all know, that Juliet was diagnosed with breast cancer, and to just hear her survival story and the passion and the love that she has for all of these women, I mean, it's really, really amazing. And I was just so glad to actually meet her in person, to work with her, and then to continue working with her. So I was really, really excited about that.
Now, let me turn to Juliet. Juliet, all of this happened around a period when actress Melissa Determined was raised to the status of United Nations Goodwill Ambassador. Now, did that kind of spur you to want to work with her in this project?
Actually, as a matter of fact, I found out about that after the production. I didn't know that she was an ambassador. It was right after that I said, I'm just now finding out a lot about you. But, prior to her coming onto the project, I only knew her as a great actress because they had actually showed me clips of her work. And I said, oh, yeah, I want her on the production, but I never knew about the ambassadorship. So that's another chapter that we'll talk about, Melissa.
Definitely.
Right. Now, back to you, Melissa. I would definitely have to talk about your status as a UN Goodwill Ambassador. Now, did you find yourself, like you were in your thing when you were doing this project with Juliet? Like you were telling yourself that this is supposed to be me and this is where I'm supposed to belong if I carry this status of a Goodwill Ambassador?
Well, definitely. Keep in mind that I am a UN ambassador for Insurmountable Women, which is a nonprofit organization empowering women. So when you think about Julie's organization, which is Courage to Dare, everything kind of fits. It coincides. She's telling a story about these women, empowering women that are diagnosed with breast cancer, giving them hope and letting them know that, she is fighting for them. She is there to support them. She is their strength when they're weak. So for me, everything just fell right into place.
Now, Melissa, Africa is listening, and you have a word for that young girl out there who may be having sleepless nights when she thinks of breast cancer. What will you tell her?
My word is just hold on, be strong, and just know that there are people who are all over the world that are, fighting for them and praying for them, and out there, advocating for them, telling their stories. So for me, I would just definitely say to just hold on and be strong and don't be discouraged.
Don't be discouraged. Thank you so much, Melissa, for joining us in this edition of African Cocktail. We'll have you, as usual, some other time on the show.
Thanks, Ernest, for having me on. Thanks, Julie.
Let's have some music, then we'll be back. Okay, don't mind our choice of music. In this edition of African Cocktail, we just decided to have a treat with the masters. His name is Oliver the Cock, Mama and Papa. Beautiful high life piece there, coming to you from Africa's #1 country in entertainment, Nigeria. African Cocktail is coming to you from Africa Radio. Just over ahead, we shall make a brief stop over in Douala, Cameroon, and see what has been going on out there. And so if you are in around Michigan, just make a stop over and support Vumumse Shalom Magic, his name, and of course he'll be out there to present his maiden gospel album. And so the story of the strong woman continues on African Cocktail this day. We are celebrating the bravery of an African lady who has come out to say cancer cannot be the end of life, and that with cancer we can still make it and make it big. Her name is Juliet Aguwa, main guest in this edition of African Cocktail. Once again, Juliet, you're welcome.
Thank you very much again.
So, Julian, living with cancer would definitely have been a heavy load, especially psychologically.
What was your question again?
Yes, the question is that you must have had a lot of psychological trauma in the days of living with this disease.
Yeah, Well, yeah, when I was diagnosed, I mean, of course I went through the series during chemotherapy of memory loss, and, it's very painful when a mother struggles with the idea of even trying to remember her kids' names. That's what I went through, and at that time, and, there are times where it was really emotional for me because there are some things that I couldn't do as a mother for my kids. I mean, I was blessed to have a husband and my mother who came all the way from Nigeria to be a great support. Then my older sister who lives in California also flew in too. Those were really great help, and of course extended families were around, but it was really challenging because you never know what tomorrow might be.
Right.
And at the time of my diagnosis, I had a lot of wonderful people, women that I met in the hospital while I was going through treatment, and of course more traumatizing when you come back and hear that they never made it through. So you're just like praying to God, because the only thing I asked God was, you can't give me this wonderful children and take me away from them. What's their fate? What are they supposed to believe? And who can love your children better than you as a mother? And those were one of the things that really broke my heart. But was it challenging? Yes, it was.
Right. Now, in spite of adequate education, a lot of people still think that cancer is incurable, whereas it can be cured, Juliet. Could you just tell the person listening to us out there how one can survive cancer?
Well, I mean, we always, I've worked with a lot of organizations who actually, focus on cancer, breast cancer, organizations like Susan G. Komen, Nurses Affecting Change, the American Cancer Society, so many of them. And one of the things that we always tell people is early detection is key. Present it early so the doctors can, your medical professionals can start working on it. The earlier you find that out, the better, and the more chances that you might, you would survive it. And not to say that if you have a late stage of it, people like me, my stage was late. Stage 3C. That doesn't mean you don't have hope. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is do not shy away from it. Speak up. Speak up.
And could you describe, Juliet, how you reacted the moment you learned that you had been freed from cancer?
Oh my God. The moment I learned that, I was done with my treatment and in remission, it was life-changing. Because at the time you're like, thank you, God, for giving me a second chance. Because I sat around people who I went to treatment with and come back and they're no longer there. So for you to have gone through this chemotherapy, memory loss, fingernails loss, hair loss, and everything, you don't even know what your fate is, then coming out to say, hey, you're done with treatment, you're in remission, you're a survivor. It's life-changing. You tend to sit back and tell yourself, because I one of the promises I made to God, I said, give me another chance, and I will try to make it right. I will be there, to change a whole lot of things that we tend to ignore as, human beings, individuals. And so just being a cancer survivor was so life-changing. Having to sit by another woman, hold her hand, and give her the same hope that was given to me, it's just, it's speechless.
What a heartbreaking revelation there from our main guest, Juliet Aguwa. And your cancer experience didn't deter you from your passion. I'm talking about acting. Juliet, what inspired you into this art?
Well, before cancer, I was already an actress. I was performing in Nigeria before I moved to the United States, so it had nothing to do with cancer. I took a little break from acting. I wanted to venture into other areas because I'm someone that loves challenge, and I'd love to see what life is all about, what the world is all about. And I kind of dabbled into the health industry, and that's simply because of my brother who passed away from sickle cell. And so, this is one thing that our country, Nigeria, and other African countries are faced with, this, medical infrastructure that it's not there. We're not up to standard. And as a result, a lot of people die prematurely, and what can we do to kind of help the health system? That's how I got into the medical industry, and just never looked back. So in combination of what I know now, and as a cancer survivor, and still being an actress, of course, do I want to go back into the industry and do what I love? Yes, but for a good cause. What can I do to change another person's life? Because that's the whole idea.
Right.
Make a change.
Right. But did you at any moment during the cancer days think that you could drop ambitions of pursuing your acting career?
When I was going through cancer, did I ever think about pursuing a career in acting again?
Mm-hmm. So did that come up your mind at any time that you could just forget about acting because of the cancer trauma?
Well, first of all, when I was going through that treatment, all that was on my mind was surviving first. Being there for my children. I don't think, acting came to mind at all, because it was a very challenging period for me. But then, one of the biggest things that are happening now, that's gone viral, is just a video that I had put out there, and it was not intentional for any commercial purpose. I had actually put out a video for my children because I wanted to leave something for them just in case I never made it. So I put a video out there going through my stages of treatment so they can actually understand what, mommy went through.
Right.
As a result, I came out as a survivor, and that became one of the biggest stories on,
Right.
That's gone viral.
Okay, let us quickly talk about One Quiet Voice. Did you write a story?
I'm sorry?
Did you write One Quiet Voice?
Yes, One Quiet Voice was a combination of stories. Like I said, these are true life stories. I had met with these courageous women who went through this disease, and some of them are no longer with us. They passed on. But the good thing that happened was having to sit with them to get their story and actually be able to put it out there for people. That's how One Quiet Voice came about. Okay, women telling me to tell their stories, because it's not something that we talk about in Africa as a continent. You never find another woman telling you about how she went through her stories. Like Stella said, you get diagnosed with this and you shield yourself and shy away completely from the world. And which kind of adds to that, that stigma that kind of goes around with us in Africa. So for me to have sat with these women and they giving me the go-ahead to tell their story was really powerful, because when I had mine, I had to encourage and empower women. Talk about it. It's not something that, it's not a curse. It's a disease. If we're not talking about it, you can never get help. And because I stood up to this and I, had to basically raise my voice and say, I have breast cancer. I'm not ashamed of it. What could be more shameful? I'm about to die. I'm not sure what my faith is. So what am I shying away from? What am I going to lose by talking about it? And, the same courage I have instilled in all these women that I, showcase their story on stage. Speak about it. Don't shy away. Just think about yourself right now and talk about the story. One of the things that we women, and I would say wives, mothers, African women in general, we're so caring in nature. We tend to think about everybody else and forget about ourselves. And, by being a survivor, you learn to, understand that without you, those that you love would not exist. They might not tend to function well. So in order for you to continue being a great support to your loved ones, you have to think about yourself. We have to think about us and take care of we before you can take care of another person.
Talk about it. What a courageous woman we're receiving on this show today. Juliet, thank you so much. I'll be back with you and Stella in a couple of moments.
Thank you.
Hey, we now move on to the barons of Nigerian high life, Super Negro Bantus, in that beautiful one titled People Not Fit Understand, Soul Searching High Life. As soul searching as the stories we are getting on African Cocktail this day with our main guest Juliet Aguwa. What a courageous woman. Just right ahead in this edition of the show, we shall be talking about Courage Today, an organization Juliet runs. Just in this edition of African Cocktail, in a couple of moments, we shall be moving to Central Africa, and precisely Cameroon, and when we get there, we shall be receiving our reporter Ifana Kwalab. And for one thing, we must say Africans living in the diaspora are so concerned about their kind and their fellow citizens, their compatriots, their brothers and sisters back home. Okay, we are glad to hear that lots and lots of those initiatives are going on all over the place. Okay, let's move now to South Africa, Johannesburg, precisely where our man Solomon Atta is on standby, and looks like similar efforts are being made in South Africa to that effect. Okay, we have some technical issues. We'll be right back. And if you have just tuned in, you're listening to a special episode of African Cocktail coming to you this November the 26th, 2014. Okay, having missed on Johannesburg and hoping to come back to Solomon Atta, let's move on to the direction of Central Africa. And of course, when we get to Central Africa, we shall be visiting Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. And it is in Douala that we have one of our permanent correspondents. Her name is Ifana Kwalar. So what has been happening in Cameroon and of course the whole of that sub-region? Ifana Kwalar, welcome to the show. All right, there we go again. Technical problems getting to Johannesburg and of course Douala. We hope to rectify that. Let's go, music. Okay, thank God we have Solomon Atta in Johannesburg, South Africa, who now comes on board. Solomon, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ernest, and welcome to you and all your listeners in all 5 or 7 continents to the city of gold. Ernest, I have to tell you that our cities in Johannesburg are literally paved with gold. Why? Because more than 180 years ago, when gold was discovered here, they didn't have a refined system to refine the gold. So most of the mine dump was used to pave the streets in Johannesburg. So what this means is that the streets of Johannesburg are paved with gold. Welcome to you, Ernest. Ernest, today I have a something very exciting. I've narrowed it down to the Cameroonian community here. So Ernest, here it goes. It is a fundraising season here in Johannesburg, with all associations getting down to raise funds and to back up activities that are in their various countries. In the city of gold, many diaspora and communities are involved in fundraising in a bid to support development activities back at home. Within the Cameroonian community, these have taken a hastened tempo fueled by the need to make the most of the generosity of all Cameroonians. This is evidence as most of the venues and regular spots frequented by Cameroonian communities are fully booked for the year-end functions and for fundraiser activities. All we can say, Ernest, we're very busy and we're spoiled for choice as to which event you will attend. These have generated serious and considered interest tilted towards or aimed towards fundraising rather than just aiming to eat, drink, and dance. And all of these fundraising activities, all the funds are raised and sent back home. The single most inspiring thing has been education and catering for underprivileged children back in home, back in Cameroon. The year started early with MECUDA, which is the Metacultural and Development Association, converging everyone else that was in Gauteng, which is the capital, which is the province where Johannesburg is the capital, or Pretoria is the capital, to raise funds and have successfully bought and delivered textbooks to 5 primary schools in the Meta clan in Bengwi subdivision. This was aimed specifically at schools which underperformed during the last 2013 First School Living Certificate examination as advised by the Inspectorate of Basic Education in Bengwi. Other associations, to name a few, such as Bali, Bafut, and others, have all had fundraising events. They too are still in the process of delivering some of their developmental funds back at home. As far as the MECUDA is concerned, their successful book project was a highlight of the year as far as those of that association that are in Johannesburg are concerned. In recent weeks, many Cameroonian associations have been involved in similar activities, raising funds for developmental activities back at home, especially because they have identified education as one of the most crucial or important aspects in the development of citizenry. As far as this reporter is concerned, this is a breath of fresh air into the activities of the party scene when the year-end functions start in South Africa. The year-end in Johannesburg looks great, and most of these associations are hoping that their efforts will continue to contribute towards the global good of children in Cameroon. The activities continued, and as at today, most such events are scheduled for all weekends till the 31st of December 2013. And as the year draws to an end, it is hoped that all of those who attend and contribute towards all these fundraising efforts, that their contributions will go a long way to broaden the smiles on the faces of those who receive the funds and others involved in the development of the areas they target. This is Solomon Atta, only on African Cocktail in the City of Gold.
Solomon Atta, who is not living here yet. Solomon, brilliant initiative there, to think that we can put smiles on the faces of the underprivileged back in Africa. And I must say kudos to Cameroonian communities out there in South Africa. But let me ask this question, Solomon. We understand they are operating at dispersed ranks. Is there any coordinated association or an umbrella body that kinds of coordinates all these efforts through which what has been donated so far will get to Cameroon?
Ernest, perhaps not necessarily, because you know that those associations that have already undertaken these initiatives are targeting niche needs within their own local communities back at home. As you would remember that from a typical Cameroonian point of view, the association, although there is to some extent a global Cameroonian association within South Africa as a whole, there are also various associations maybe drawn according to geographical boundaries, such as divisional level, village level, or common language level, or provincial level. So these various associations undertake these activities in order to specifically surgically target needs within the various communities back at home, and it's been seen to be effective in terms of the way that, say for example, let me use the Metacultural and Development Association, MECUDA Gauteng. We spoke to the Inspector of Basic Education in Bengwi, and we said we wanted to support education at the basic educational level, and what she advised was that we should buy textbooks to schools which underperformed during the First School Living Certificate. Our own measurement at the level of the Metacultural Development Association was to use a common entrance, but she advised against us, saying the common entrance exam was a more competitive exam, but as a school living exam, the First School Living Certificate was a better measurement of performance. We have done that, and what that has now contributed was that it sort of engaged or spurred on other associations to focus on basic education in terms of delivering some assistance to some of the needy schools back at home. So surgically, we were able to target schools that did not have 100% pass rate during the 2013 school year, and that those books were already delivered in October in order that these kids that we targeted or the schools that we targeted would be able to benefit fully. So I would be able to fairly assume that other associations, despite the fact that our global Cameroonian community within Gauteng is not is functional at a 100% rate, all the other associations from all communities within Cameroon are undertaking various varied activities back at home. One, say for example, to be able to some kind of a Christmas gift for those that celebrate Christmas back at home. Say for example, some kind of a rentrée scolaire, like going back to school and supporting initiatives that contribute, or some water projects or school building project or community hall project. So when you attend all these events, unless you get a feel of the connectedness of the communities of Cameroonians here that are based in Gauteng, where I am, or specifically those that are based in Johannesburg, are strategically targeting challenges that are confronting communities back home. So we believe that, or it is fair to assume that, because it is very niche oriented, they are actually getting the specifics right and they are getting some work done.
Right. Now, Solomon, one last question. I know you've been in South Africa for a while now, and I would imagine that this is not the first time Cameroonian associations there are coming up with such an initiative. Now, what has been the feedback from back home, especially from the beneficiaries? Have you had support in this project from the powers that be?
Thank you very much, Ernest, for a brilliant question. In fact, we have only been able to measure support or feedback from home through some of the initiatives that we were directly involved, i.e. the Mekuda book donations to 5 schools that took place in Bengui on the 15th of October 2014. Other associations get feedback fed directly to their own hierarchy or to within their own midst. So we have these supporters that have been able to gather that sort of feedback. But generally, it is only okay to assume that when people receive generosity from others, from elsewhere, especially from amongst themselves that live afar or offshore or outside of the borders of Cameroon, there is a general sense of appreciation, of thought, and so on. But let me just highlight this. This reporter believes that there is a change or a tilting towards more thinking about the other person instead of our own narrow thinking of only ourselves. So the general feeling here is that most Cameroonian communities are beginning, even though this is not something that they've only started doing now. This has been going on for a very long time. It's been going on forever because it is embedded in our DNA to always support developmental activities. But what I have noticed as a reporter is that during this year, especially in Gauteng or Johannesburg, the tempo of such development initiatives has risen. In fact, it has now assumed a common thread across all the associations. It looks like there is a sense of thought leadership that is really gaining some momentum within the Cameroonian community, and as such, all such efforts can only be encouraged.
Solomon, thank you for that brilliant package, and we want to say well done to those Cameroonian associations who have thought it wise to be of support to their kind back home. Okay, Ogochi is her name. She is one of the actresses in One Quiet Voice. We're going to talk with her in a short while, but then we shall be talking to her from the Republic Federal Republic of Nigeria, where she is at the moment. African Cocktail number 76 with Ernest Kanjo. We are now getting on board another actress in One Quiet Voice. Her name is Beverly Okegbo. She now comes on board. Beverly, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. How are you today?
I'm all right, thanks. And you?
I'm fine. I thank God.
Right. So, tell us how you got involved with the One Quiet Voice project.
Well, it was through a mutual friend, and he called me and he told me about it, and I was very intrigued by the title and by the whole view and the whole direction of the place. I was very interested because I felt like it was a very great cause.
And what character are you playing in the drama?
I was very fortunate to play Debbie, who is still alive and fighting the battle. So I was very honored to play her.
Right. And so, what was your experience working with the rest of the cast and the crew?
Oh, it was a very loving and learning experience. I learned so much, especially with the veterans in the acting game. So I felt like I was very blessed to be part of this very great movement.
Right. And if I ask you to describe Juliet as a person, what would you say, Beverly?
I would describe her as a beautiful, soft soul. I never met anybody so lovely and nice, like genuinely nice and beautiful and loving. She just has this spirit that it will touch your soul. It will make you want to do more. She's very inspiring. I love her.
Right.
Really.
And could you just tell us a little bit about your acting career? What movies have you featured in so far? And where do you intend to take this career of yours to?
I haven't really been featuring anything yet. I'm just starting, but I was very, very fortunate to be part of this play, which is opening many doors for me. So you'll definitely see me very soon.
Hopefully we'll see more of Beverly. Juliet, Beverly was part of it. How did you find her performance, and what experience did you have working with her?
Well, like Beverly said, we got introduced by Bode Ojo, and when I came on set, Beverly was just ready to go, and I could see that fire in her. It wasn't something that she had actually done before in terms of stage production and cancer, basically enacting a cancer survivor. So we had to sit down, and I thought the best way that I could tell the story was to share my video and the real life stories of women. So we just connected from there, because she just put her heart and soul into it. And just in general, I would tell you that all the cast that I worked with just connected. I couldn't tell you how magical it was. And for me, that was winning another trophy, having to get people on set who actually connected to the story you were trying to put out there. That was great.
Great. Could you tell us a little bit about Courage to Dare, the objectives of the organization, and who are your partners?
Well, Courage to Dare, we have a board of directors that actually do, embody everything that Courage to Dare does. And we've collaborated with Susan G. Coleman, which is one of the biggest cancer organizations in the United States, American Cancer Society, Nurses Affecting Change. Those are the people that we work with in the community. And when Courage Today decides to travel to Africa, they do provide the resources that are needed to actually, be able to provide those to hospitals and individuals that need to know, more information about this disease.
And tell us about what you know about the prevalence of cancer in Africa. I know you've been there a couple of times to see how severe the problem is.
Well, I can say one thing, Ernest, the truth of it is, in Africa, as it is, the journey of, cancer is a death sentence. For one woman, this is like, death. For another person, is a whole different story. So it's very painful to sit down and watch your fellow mothers, sisters, women going through this thing and people not trying to talk about it, but you can tell that they really need help. And the painful part of it is that I came across in the journey, in my research, we've come across women that have been kicked out of their homes because they were diagnosed with this disease. And as a result, one of the ladies that we told her story, Rafa, to, she lived under the bridge. So you find out that, in as much as these women have been diagnosed with this disease, they're not all dying from the disease itself. Some of them are through poverty. Some of them are through infection. So it's a whole lot that is linked to this whole cancer diagnosis. You know, a lot of our women and men are not necessarily dying from the disease itself, you know, but the fact that they financially they can't afford it. And again, there's some people that go through the surgery, the mastectomy, lumpectomy, whichever, you know, and there's no after treatment, there's no follow-up. And when you go through a severe surgery as mastectomy for cancer, you would need like a physical therapy that can help you with the muscles. So you find out that these women are going through a lot of pain because the muscles have been crunched up and no exercise whatsoever. There's just so much involved in this, you know, diagnosis. There's a lot that we overlook, and that's what, you know, Courage Today is constantly standing to ask our government to stand up and, you know, let's do something about this. It might not affect you directly, but the truth of it is it's affecting someone that you might know.
Now,
and it's just spreading.
You just mentioned government there, and I'm going to ask you this: you have ambitions of one day going to Asarok, so that even the highest office of the land can address this issue.
Of course, I mean, I have been to to Abuja 2 years ago. You know, traveled to the House of Representatives, and I try to render my voice. And you never give up. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep standing up for this because the people back home, whether I like it or not, that's where I come from.
Right.
And you cannot allow a whole continent to be wiped out due to ignorance.
Right.
And it's not right. And we have to keep, I mean, it's not done in one day. But the truth of it is that we have to keep standing up to this.
Right.
We have to let our voices be heard. And I'm not scared to march into any office and talk about this.
Right. Those voices really have to be heard. It is the right of every citizen to have good health. Now, Julia, since we're running out of time, let us run off with you quickly. In November of 2010, you were a guest on the Oprah Winfrey show. Tell us how this arrangement was made and how you got to this platform.
Well, when first of all, when I got invited to Oprah, it was like, you know, it was life-changing. It was a shock. How many people get to speak about that? But the truth of it was that I had written to the show about my story, my survivorship, which was like a year ago, you know, and a few months later, I get a call from Oprah Winfrey. It was really life-changing. And for me, it wasn't just, you know, giving me a call that mattered. What I thought really changed was that finally our voices are being heard by getting a call from Oprah and getting on her show. I mean, having to look at her like, am I still dreaming? It was so surreal. You know, you're looking at her like, are you seriously? I'm here. I can talk about my survivorship and the need to help so many women in Africa. And, you know, one of the surprising thing was, you know, a question was thrown that we didn't know that, you know, there was a huge case of cancer in Africa. I'm like, what? You know, so if that can be said on the Oprah Winfrey show, I wonder how many people that don't even know that a lot of people are dying of this disease in Africa.
Right.
That kind of really made me work harder to get the stories out so people can see. They need to know that this does exist.
And how did Oprah herself react to this story of yours?
It was how would I say, it was kind of life-changing for her because it's new. You know, it's something that you never really heard about. We hear about it here in the United States and how people are being treated and all that, but then you never knew that there's a high death rate over there. So it was surprising as well.
And since then, what has been your relationship with this woman who has become an epitome of, how can I put it, epitome of social cause, you know?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Yes, I'm asking, what has been your relationship since then with Oprah? Oprah, I'm talking about this woman who is kind of, who leads, the social cause, especially in favor of the underprivileged.
Yeah, well, the thing about Oprah is that she is one woman. I have a lot of respect for her. She is one woman that wants to showcase something that makes a difference, that is meaningful to the world. And for me, I felt like, okay, now I've been on the Oprah Winfrey Show. I have to go back and put my game hat on and put a package together and bring it back to her and say, this is that thing you were not aware of. This is it. It's right here. And that's what, One Quiet Voice represents. And, we're hoping that with, bigger support, we can get a lot of these women's stories together in a film. And, it's a big project.
Right.
We would love to support.
Okay, Juliet, we are about to run off with you in this edition of African Cocktail. Briefly, I just want you to advise the African woman before you leave.
Well, my advice to the African woman, man who's going through this is never give up the fight. It's a daring disease, is a painful one, but never give up the fight. Early detection is key. Speak up. Don't be shy. There's nothing to be shy about. There's nothing to be afraid of. It is a disease, not a curse.
It is a disease and not a curse. What would you tell African governments?
I'm sorry?
What will you tell African governments?
What will I tell the African government?
Yeah, the government in Africa.
Tell the African government to stand up. Let's make a change. It's not enough that when we get diagnosed with this disease, we look for the funding to lead the country, as opposed to, working on the structure of a medical system in the country. Because many a times, a lot of our top officials who have been diagnosed with this disease never make it to their destination. They end up dying. Either get there, it's too late, and you're dead. So why spend that money? Fly now, where we can spend that money into the hospital systems we have in Africa to make it a better one.
Right.
Get, outside help to kind of help us cut down on this death rate. So I want our top officials to, step up to the game, do something, make a difference.
Make a difference.
Women.
I understand we also have civil society organizations, that are involved in this genuine fight. What advice would you give them?
For their organizations?
Civil society organizations.
Well, my biggest advice is, this is an organization that is geared to helping humanity. And I think it would be great. The strongest voice we can ever have is collaboration. Having to find ways to work together.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing that we can ever do as an organization.
Right. Partnerships in the fight against cancer would be very, very welcome. That is what our main guest, Juliet, is saying. Juliet, it's been wonderful having you in this edition of African Cocktail. But I know as a woman who has been freed from cancer, you also take off some time to relax. Now, when you are not doing the things you do on a daily basis, what are you involved in? What are your hobbies?
Well, you already know that I'm an actress at heart, so I enjoy quality time with my children, and my family in general, my husband, my kids, and it's just it's the biggest hobby I have is going out in the community and helping, volunteering. That's one of the things I love doing, being able to volunteer in the community. And, it's life-changing for me. It empowers me to keep working.
Right. And let me ask you this question. You live a normal life, right? And you eat virtually everything which every other person eats, right?
Well, of course I eat everything. I still eat all my African, Nigerian food, but I just have to eat things with caution right now. It's not as it used to be before, cut down on a lot of cholesterol, but at the same time you still eat.
Right. And so you look up to somebody as your role model. Who is that person?
Oh, my role model, I have great mentors, you know, but my mother is the strongest woman I've ever come across, you know. So, I mean, I wish I had the strength that she does have, but she's everything. She's my role model.
Juliet, it takes a woman with an overflow of courage to come on a public platform and say all the things you've said on the show. We want to thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Ernest. Thank you.
And we hope that when next we knock at your door, you open it for us.
Definitely. I'll be more than happy to possibly take you with me on my journeys.
Do have a fantastic rest of the day out there, Juliet. Thank you, and we hope to have you again.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
It comes from God, Aki Special, a remix from Nico Bargas, Aki Special, and it is done to us by Tilda, with whom we started this edition of African Cocktail, and of course with whom we are going to end it. But before we run off, let's move to Douala and find out what has been happening in Central Africa. Ifana Kwalar is at the helm. Welcome on board.
Good afternoon, Ernest, and listeners of African Cocktail, and welcome to Douala. Today I'll be taking you to Bamenda, where the Actors Guild meeting held on the 22nd of November 2014. Ernest, echoes coming from Bamenda, I must say, are not really pleasant. The Actors Guild meeting, which took place at the Nekla Hotel in Bamenda, was attended by over 50 actors from all over Cameroon. Present at the meeting were also renowned directors and producers like Musin Derrick, Musinwa, and Dan Goodberry. Okia Richards was present at the meeting, but in the capacity of an actor and not as the president of the CFI. Top on the agenda were the worries of the actors. They complained that for the past 2 years there has been no calendar of events, and so it seems as if nothing is happening. They think that they don't actually know what they are doing or what is happening to them. The new constitution was read out but was not adopted. The actors present at the meeting gave Muma Pascal, the national president of the Actors Guild, a vote of no confidence. According to both the oath and the new constitution, Pascal was supposed to step down as president after the vote of no confidence. 4 of the other ESCO members who were there stepped down, saying they were not ready to work with Pascal. While Muma Pascal refused stepping down as president, saying that the number of actors present at the meeting were not up to half of the actors registered in the guild, so the percentage of the vote of no confidence was low. Many actors argued that the day he was voted into power, the actors present were not up to half of the registered members till he took power as the president of the National Actors Guild. While an interim committee has been put in place as of now to run things in the Actors Guild while preparing for the election that will be taking place in 2 months' time. This committee is headed by Alan Leo. We sure will only get all of the story in 2 months' time when the next General Assembly will be held, the new constitution adopted, and the new ESCO members voted. As of now, we don't know if Pascal is still the president of the National Actors Guild or not. That is all I have for you from Douala.
Okay, from Douala, we've just had Ifana Kwalar, our permanent correspondent, and from her we've learned that the Actors Guild of Cameroon, known as NACCAM by its acronym, is in a stalemate following a vote of non-confidence against the president of that body. His name is Muma Pascal. He likes to be called Bob. We hope that that crisis is going to be resolved and the Actors Guild of that country will get back on the rails. And for one thing, Cameroon has a very fast-growing film industry. Despite the ups and downs that industry is growing, a lot of things are happening. But from my understanding, the start is always difficult. Nollywood has gone through this, and it is where it is today, thanks to all what they went through. They had a lot of experience, and with such experiences, things actually get better. We hope that the Actors Guild of Cameroon will get back on the rails, and that that country's film industry will tick and tick. Okay, so we are running off this episode of African Cocktail. Time for me to start voting thanks, especially to those who made it a point of duty to be part of this edition of the show. Thanks very much to the cast of One Quiet Voice. It was a fantastic show we had with the talented ladies in this episode of African Cocktail. Thanks very much to the team. Solomon Atta, who spoke from Johannesburg, South Africa. We also had Ifana Kwalar, who reported from Douala, Cameroon. And of course, resource person number 1, Kenneth Ngamne, has been monitoring from the background. Then Ajik Maxwell was producing this show from the city of Essen in West Germany. Okay, we are about to run off in a few seconds.
This life is wonderful. Don't be proud because you have it. It comes from God Almighty. Yay! Oh, picking good, picking good, picking good, winner. What if you get picking? Make you not laugh. Then people.
And so that's how we put a full stop to this 76th episode of African Cocktail that came to you this day, Wednesday, November the 26th, 2014 on Africa Radio. It was a big and dynamic team that kept you company this day. African Kitchen Manager Suzanne A.A., Belgium correspondent Titus Banyo, Germany correspondent Ajik Maxwell, South Connect correspondent Solomon Atta, Central African correspondent Ifana Kwalar, African Tele Review Crystal Beauty, resource person number 1 Kenneth Ngamne, resource person number 2 Suleiman Koyate, resource person number 3 Matthew Ayong, content critique The White Bokori, production collaboration Crystal Beauty, African Cocktail promo banner Bo Boateng, Ajik Maxwell, main guest in this edition of the show Juliet Aguwa, then special guest in this edition Stella Damasus, then we also had Melissa Determined, we had Beverly Okegbe, Quintain, and of course we have all our listeners listening to us around the globe. Collaboration Big Joe, Big Bo, Gentle, Awal Muhammad, DJ Cash, Mayo Makinde, Saran, KK, Coordination, Nana Ampem, Davis Odeneho Apia. My name is Ernest Kanjo, regular host of the show, asking you to join me again next Wednesday for yet another edition of African Cocktail. And until we meet next Wednesday, it is bye-bye, ciao, au revoir, merci, I'm gone. Happy Thanksgiving Day tomorrow. Then see you next week. To God be the glory.